In this video, we'll break down the NFL Week 12 main slate as we build cash lineups on DraftKings and FanDuel, and it's coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Eric, I got to say, we had so much fun doing that Go to Goats show that we did. That was a lot of fun. It was great having Aaron on the show.
You made reference to the show where we took all the different sports and the best athletes in that sport and then said, who is the GOAT, the greatest of all time among all of the sports GOATs? So, look, not many of you guys are watching. Come on, we spent a lot of time putting that show together. Please do us a favor. I'll put the link on right up above, and it'll also be on the end screen. Hey, check it out. All right, we're going to prepare full cash lineups on both sites, but there are 4 players this week that we like the pricing on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And not to be a homer, Michael, the first guy on that list is my own Seattle Seahawk running back Ken Walker III. $6,900 on DraftKings and $8,100 on FanDuel. Look, folks, as a Seahawk fan, I can tell you when the Seahawks are competitive, Walker gets more touches and performs. He can be that bell cow back that gets goal line carries and gets involved in the passing game. And you can't ask for a better game environment than this week. He is home. He is favored by a half a point. Solid 24 implied total against an Arizona defense that's below average, 19th against rushing and 21st ranked against passing. I think Walker is in for a solid game this week.
Yeah, no, exactly. Love that guy. I think he's a star. Well, I got a very similar situation. I got a home favorite. This one's favored by 7, going up against one of the worst rush defenses in the league, 24th against running backs. It's Devon A. Chain. Very similar situation. He's 7,500 on DraftKings, 9,100 on FanDuel, playing at home against New England, who's been really bad this year, including against the run. And hey, this guy has been getting almost 20 touches per game, and he is really the most utilized, even more than Kamara this year, guy in the passing game, and he's getting involved at the goal line. Mostert's really been nowhere to be found. Yes, A-Chain has had to deal for a few weeks there with Tua being absent, but Tua's around. Great game environment. This guy's a superstar athlete. And frankly, he's the one that's getting the most touches on this team right now. I really like this pick.
It's a completely different offense with Tua back. And we talked last week how that completely affects A-Chain. Just look at the games in which Tua was playing and the games that he was not playing, and A-Chain's difference in production is a lot. We spent a decent amount of money getting these bell cow star backs that we like the game environment. So when we switch over to wide receiver, we got to look for some savings. And I really like the savings in San Francisco wide receiver Jawan Jennings. $5,600 on DraftKings and $6,700 on FanDuel. This is the second week in a row that I am recommending the San Francisco wide receiver since coming back after their week 9 bye. 2 straight games, 11 touches, and 90-plus receiving yards. Brandon Ayuk is out for the year, and Deebo Samuel is getting most of the attention by the defenses, double-teamed often. And that is just allowing lots of opportunities for Jennings. Last week, they even didn't have George Kittle. George Kittle says for sure he's going to play. We'll see. But Jennings draws what I would say is an average Green Bay defense. I like him this week at this price.
Yeah, no, good price. And we got to do something similar at the other receiver spot. And that's Calvin Ridley at 5,700 on DraftKings, 6,300 on FanDuel, up against Houston, who's been 23rd against wide receivers in terms of fantasy points allowed. This guy's been getting almost 10 targets per game since D-Hop went over to the Chiefs. He's the clear number 1 there. Probably going to be playing from behind. Houston's a heavy favorite, which is good for pass catchers. So at this price tag, another solid floor guy who has some upside.
Yeah, so at this time, I want to remind everybody, please, if you can help support the show, simply smash that like button, share your comments in the comment section about Week 12 slate, and if you haven't hit that red subscribe button. All right, we're going to do FanDuel and DraftKings full cash lineups. Let's fill out the rest of the DraftKings lineup first.
Okay, Eric, I'm going to hand it to you to kick it off here. But before I do you want to tell the folks a little bit about next week, what's going on?
Yeah, Michael, it's Thanksgiving week. So we're traveling. So we're going to have to take the week off. We will miss you, but we wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. We will be back, though, breaking down the NFL DFS slate for week 14, the week after Thanksgiving. So until then, we wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and good luck in your Thanksgiving slates.
Exactly. So get us started here on this DraftKings lineup.
Yeah, so based on our core players that are already in our lineup, we got about a little under $5,000 to spend. So we have to be a little economical. And I am going to go out on a limb and say my favorite guy, given his price, in the flex position, he'll go. And, if you want to be technical, folks, Ken Walker should be in the flex since he plays in the afternoon. But at $5,600 is Brian Robinson Jr. Now, here's the situation. He's coming back from an injury. And what happened in his first week back? He immediately resumed as the lead ball carrier on the Commanders, getting 16 carries. This Washington team should be fresh against Dallas. They played on Thursday night last week, so it's like they're coming off a mini bye. And here's the thing with Brian Robinson Jr. They have Austin Eckler as more of the receiving back. So Robinson is very important if you put him in his lineup, that he has a positive game script. And folks, you will never get a more positive game script for the Commanders than this week. They are at home a 10.5 point favorite. If you're still around in Survivor, this is a Survivor pick for the week. Ridiculously high 28 implied total against a Dallas offense without Dak, who's terrible. Now they don't likely have their tight end, Jake Ferguson. And more importantly, a Dallas defense that is ranked 31st against the run. Michael, Robinson, to me, is way underpriced on FanDuel at $5,600.
Yeah, if you watch this Monday Night Football game, Dallas just is atrocious right now on the defense side of the ball, especially against the run. They let Nick Mixon just run all over them, and Robinson is ripe to do the same. Very similar back to Mixon. And so if you like the fantasy points that Mixon put up, you have a chance to get similar. Maybe not quite the upside, but a similar floor. So I'm going to spend some money at the tight end spot because the number one tight end this year, all season long, Brock Bowers, is, I think, still priced right here on DraftKings at $6,300, going up against a Denver defense that is actually 24th against the pass. And that includes, their shutdown corner who doesn't focus on tight ends. And so Brock Bowers, by far the number one target tight end in the league, by far the number one receiving tight end in the league in terms of yards, and certainly the number one when Minshew is at the helm. And even when he's not. And so, this is a good game environment for a tight end. Las Vegas, you're in the domes, you're not dealing with the weather conditions.
Michael, as a big Raider fan, talk a little bit about the departure of Davante Adams and how that has affected Bowers in the offensive scheme.
Yeah, well, so, Davante Adams, obviously a stud athlete. Brock Bowers is the closest thing they have to somebody who can do some damage. Not only is he a great pass catcher and a great possession receiver, but he's an athlete. He's tall, he's big, and actually a pretty good route runner, and still has some speed because he's younger than some of these other tight ends who are, kind of similar when it comes to mine. He's an absolute stud. If you watched him on Georgia, in college, he was somebody who you knew would have a good, successful career, and he's showing that here in the NFL.
Yeah, sounds like that size can be useful around the goal line, as Adams is no longer there. All right, so where am I going to go? At this point, I'm going to fill out the final wide receiver slot. And we already got two economical guys. I'm going to get another guy who is about at that same price and who is a number one wide receiver. Let's bring on Cortland Sutton at $5,800. One of the biggest surprises in all the NFL is this Denver Bronco team and specifically the Denver Bronco offense. Kudos to Sean Payton. I doubted him at the beginning of this year. This offense under Bo Nix has really improved. And look at the targets 8, 9, 10, and 11 in the last 4 weeks out of Cortland Sutton. This week, he's playing your Las Vegas Raiders in a dome. Their total defense is ranked 29th, giving up 327 yards. So I like the other side. We got Bowers going one way on this in this game, and Sutton the other.
Okay, so we're running low on cash, and I know what we're going to have to do to you on the defensive side of the ball. But
I asked that you give me at least one option.
Okay, I'll do that. And the only way I can do that is if we take advantage of the benching of Daniel Jones in New York and go with our good friend, twin Tommy DeVito. Not doing the Jersey Mike's commercials. This is the other DeVito. Hey, what can I say? He's so cheap. Eric can't even find him while he's looking at defenses right now. He's $4,000. Obviously, this is based on a late breaking news. It's also probably based on the fact that DeVito is not necessarily a superstar. But hey, he's gone up against a Tampa Bay defense that's number 32 against QBs this year. So you got to take advantage of that. And he's just so cheap. And hey, you can look at what he did. He actually can wing the ball, and anything is an upgrade on what they have. I mean, he's got some great weapons. Malik Neighbors arguably is one of the most capable pass catchers in the league. And they've done it, and they have Wan'Dale Robinson, who is a great possession receiver, and Darius Slayton to go with him as well. The run has actually performed as well. And so there's kind of no excuse for why this offense can't do something against a defense that's not good against quarterbacks.
You said it. I think if you look at DeVito's stats in previous years, he didn't have Neighbors, and I think that's a huge benefit. You left me $2,600, and you look at all the choices. Okay. All right. Can't pick my Seahawks. Not sure I wanted to pick my Seahawks anyway. So I'm looking at the choices. What are your Raiders doing there at $2,500? I am going to spend $2,500, but not for the Raiders. I'm going to pick the Chicago Bears. A lot of times you've seen us on this channel saying, we're just punting the defense. This, to me, is not a punt defense. The Bears are at home. Here's the bottom line. They are truly a solid defense. They've only given up 21 points once this entire year. They do have the ability to put the pressure on the quarterback. And most importantly, they play the Minnesota Vikings this week, hosting them at home. Yeah, their offense is nothing special, just middle of the road, but they are mistake prone. Under Sam Darnold, who can make some mistakes, they've turned the ball over 17 times, Michael. That is fourth most in the entire NFL. With some luck, we can get one of those turnovers, return it for a touchdown, and all of a sudden, we're looking absolutely great at defense. I like this Bears team as a defense.
Yep. No, I think good pick.
I want to give a shout out to our viewer, Mike East, who said, hey, guys, when you can you tell us about any cost savings that you see out there that you really like? And often, either those cost savings happen after we film because an injury comes up, or we already have them in our lineup. But I want to shout out, because he's not in our DraftKings lineup, Luke Shoemaker. He is, let's see if I can find him. I got to go way down, Michael. He's only $2,500. And I'll tell you why he's so cheap. He's so cheap because Jake Ferguson got injured on Monday night. So when they set the salary, we were like, he's a backup. He's not worth anything. But guess what? He had a pretty good game subbing in once he got hurt. And the bottom line is you've got a situation where Cooper Rush is now the quarterback. Obviously, the Dallas offense is a lot weaker than Rush, but Rush is targeting his tight end a lot with shorter passes. So if Ferguson is out and you want to shift from Bowers to Shoemaker, man, you can adjust this lineup and get anyone you want at running back or wide receiver. You can take Walker out, for example, and get McCaffrey. Or you can take Sutton out and get Amon-Ra St. Brown. Any final comment about that pivot?
No, I like it. I like it. Those are all some pretty good upgrades.
All right, let's go to FanDuel. All right, we're on the FanDuel site with the 4 core players already inserted in our lineup. And we have just about $6,000, Michael, that we can spend in making the rest of our lineup. Who are you going to start off with?
Well, I'm going to start at the quarterback position because I think we have a chance to save some money off of Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels, and go with a guy who, I got to admit, he's kind of underperformed this year a bit, and from a fantasy perspective. But I think because of that, his price tag has come down, and that's Jordan Love. Playing against the San Francisco 49ers, who look like they're probably not going to have Bosa again. And let's face it, he is a huge impact on that game. And even if he does play, I think he's going to have limited snaps because he is, less than 100%. Now, the Niners need this game, right? This is an important game for them. But Jordan Love, look what he's faced in terms of defenses this year. He has played really against some of the top defenses against quarterbacks, and still, had some nice weeks. So he has a pretty nice floor, and he has his full complement now of receivers. Dubs is back. That was harmful to have missed him. Watson is now at full strength. And Jaden Reed, who was banged up for a little bit there, is also at full strength. And they're utilizing their running back out of the backfield, Josh Jacobs, as a pass catcher as well. And you saw that this last week.
I'm going to double down on that game, Michael, at running back. And let's get Josh Jacobs. Just like Jordan Love, he's got that great game environment. He's at home. He's favored by 2.5 points. Really, people are afraid of the Niner defense. The lines makers have an implied total of 25. So Green Bay is going to put points up, and when that is the case, Jacobs is usually a part of it. You mentioned his ability to be a pass catcher to Love, which I don't understand. I have Josh Jacobs on my fantasy league. I don't understand why FanDuel does not give him more respect. It's not just this week with his salary. How often can you get a running back who is a bell cow, who is the goal line back, who gets passes in the passing game, and is on a solid team? And so, especially with Jordan Love healthy. So I'm all in on this. So we're big Packer fans this week.
We are, and Josh Jacobs really is a great receiver. He was a receiver in college, right? Don't forget that. Okay, so the wide receiver spot, we got to get another guy in here, and can't quite spend as much as we'd like, but I'm still going to spend some money here at $6,800. It's Jameson Williams going up against an Indiana defense that is 21st against the pass. This guy's a stud. He is really a big game guy. Look what he could do, even with just a few catches. He's had a couple of games here where he's had lots of yardage, even just with a few catches. One of the top yardage per catch guys in the league. Gets in the end zone. And let's remember, in some of these spots where he hasn't done much, it's because Detroit's been up so much that they haven't really had to throw the ball. There's been games where they've won by 3, 4 touchdowns plus. This is the best team in the NFL right now, really, in terms of how they're performing.
Ooh, Michael, you threw the gauntlet down. The best team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll say the Detroit Lions are the best offense in the NFL. And you just want to have some piece of that offense. And Jameson Williams gets you it at a reasonable price. All right. Speaking of reasonable prices, we can only spend $4,000. So I am going to spend only a little bit more than that for a tight end. It's someone who I talked about on the DraftKings side. It's Luke Shoemaker at $4,500. That's dirt cheap. He's that dirt cheap because they were not aware of the fact on Monday night that Jake Ferguson went down, and the salaries were set before Monday night. The latest from Mike McCarthy said that Jake Ferguson will be, and there's the quote, hard pressed to be able to play this week. Ferguson had a concussion, Michael. There's certain concussion protocols which are complicated by the fact that they played on Monday night, so he has one less game. So it's obviously something that you have to monitor, but as of this taping, it looks like Ferguson will be out, and if that's the case, we do really like him. He had a fine game stepping in from them. Let's be clear. This Cowboys team is a dumpster fire, as is this offense under Cooper Rush. But Cooper Rush does target his tight ends. So I like Shoemaker at this price.
Okay, so hey, you did the same thing to me. You left me some money at the defensive position. I don't have the opportunity to go with the pick of the Bears that you had.
You look how expensive the Bears are on FanDuel. Wow.
I know. And you know, the Raiders, come on. Okay, let's not go with the Raiders. I actually am not as afraid of the Cardinals as you were on DraftKings. Seattle, look what they've been in terms of how they've performed. They've turned the ball over. They've kind of allowed sacks. And this game, it's in Seattle. So, theoretically Seattle should be playing from ahead, but Arizona's coming off a bye. And, that means they're going to be fresh. Their defense is healthy right now. And they're going against a team that turns the ball over. I hate to break it to you, Eric, but I think there's a chance that Arizona wins this game. And if they do, their defense is going to put some points up. So, hey, I actually like this. It's not a complete punt. And as I look down the list, the rest of these kind of look like punt defenses to me.
How dare you say the Seattle Seahawks could lose this game? I want you to know they are favored. The lines makers have said that they are going to win. Okay, they're a half-point favorite. So, yeah, I guess I would agree that there is a chance that the Seahawks would lose, a very big chance. And the one thing I just want to emphasize as a Seahawk fan, the weakest part of this Seahawk team is their offensive line. It's just really, really bad. And you would love to have a defense going up against a poor offensive line. That's where mistakes happen. That's where sacks happen, turnovers happen, returns for touchdowns happen, and fantasy points happen. So those are our Week 12 lineups. Michael and Early, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, and happy Thanksgiving to all of our viewers. Hey, we hope that you guys have a great break, great time off, and really do thank you guys for all that you do. But please comment in the comment section so we can hear from you, and check out our other shows.
All right, we really do appreciate all of you. We're very thankful. We feel like we have a great community and here on YouTube, and we truly appreciate those people who come in and watch our shows every week, smash the like button, and that are our subscribers. So have a happy holidays, and we'll see you the week after Thanksgiving. Take care, everybody. We'll put up 2 videos we think you'll enjoy.